Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Gaming with Scott. I'm here with Jay.
How you doing?
And we got a special guest here,
Oh.
Kyle Hill.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. We are at Starbase, Indiana. Or
Yes,
Starbase
we are.
Indy for
Starbase
short.
Indy.
Yep.
And this is my first convention here. It's my
Here
first,
in Indy or here in this hotel?
both.
Oh, very good.
I'm originally from Wisconsin, so I'm used to the Midwestern vibe, but small convention, intimate. I like that vibe.
Yeah.
Usually where I have to work is usually like a Comic-Con, and that is
Insane.
it is
Can't get past the rope at the Comic-Con.
it is
I've tried.
it is a sea of humanity.
Yes.
And if you're not prepared for that,
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
yeah, you'll get sick
So
mentally and physically.
Yeah.
So thanks for taking some time with us.
Hey, no problem.
Really appreciate it. I'm a big fan personally.
Thank you.
I've seen all the Because Science videos, and I actually, have the rotation that comes up, and I go through them. And
He's shown
watch
me
it.
he's shown me one, and then I started watching another, and I'm pretty much like, this is one of the coolest things I've seen in a long,
It's
long time.
really cool
Well, thank you
because
so
it
much.
answers. When you're a kid and you're talking to your friends, and it's always like, well, Batman can beat up Superman.
Yeah, that's exactly
he
it.
did.
Green Lantern can beat up the Flash.
Yeah, what I
Well, this guy here figures it out
Yeah.
for you.
yeah,
Let you
what I
know.
wanted to do is, kind of take those nerdy questions that we have, and because my background is in science, and I think it's important to get more people interested in science as an educator, I wanted to just use the nerdy format and the questions that we always have and the questions that we ask each other because we're all nerds. I wanted to use that as kind of like a vehicle to try to help explain complicated topics if we can. I'm not always right. I'm not an expert. I make mistakes, but I think as long as you can get interested enough about a topic that you either look into it more or you get excited more so about it, then I think that's all I can ask for, really.
Well, and the first thing you're like, well, the bullet comes out of the gun. Let's talk about mass times velocity. And I went,
Oh, that's what
the actual math.
That's
Yeah.
what that means. Yeah, I never introduce, and I never want to come across professorial or lectury, so I never.
Pedantic? That's a
yes,
good word.
pedantic. Well, you can be pedantic, but don't be it in a pedantic way, if that makes
Right.
sense. Like I never introduce a concept. I never just mention a term or mention an equation or something like that without explaining or trying to explain where it comes from, why it's important,
Which
where
is
the
the
numbers
best.
come from. Well,
Right.
thank you, but it's good up into a limit. It's all about balance. Like you could do an entire show about the math of how a bullet moves through the air, but it'd be boring as hell. You have to find the balance between entertainment and education, infotainment, as they call it.
and boil it all down to about 10 minutes.
Oh, or even less. I mean, I'm not, I'm no Vsauce. I don't have the bandwidth to do 30-minute videos. So until
I watch all those
Right.
too.
that guy's so smart. It annoys me how smart he is.
Well, and I'm sorry because you talk about a show on how the bullet moves. If you've ever been in a physics class, and I imagine that you have, given the way that I've seen some of your math, that you're like, okay, on a frictionless surface in a vacuum, two oranges hit and they stick together. What's the resulting vector? Let's do the math.
Yeah.
I loved those, but I'm a nerd, and that might be boring to other people who are not me.
Sure. Yeah. So the
yeah.
idea is to take things that I find interesting or I think are valuable for people to know or make people curious about, and use the thing that if you're not a super nerd that you may be interested in. So
Sure.
it's everything from Wonder Woman to Mass Effect to
Yeah.
Krakens to I try to
the
cover a wide.
Kraken destroying the ship video.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
I try to cover a wide berth of topics.
And if you can get one person who was previously not into physics or into science, or that can go, oh, I never thought about it,
Right.
and get them to start to unravel that sweater.
Yeah, no, I mean what I worry about, what keeps me up at night, is that I don't see a ton of good science fiction and science programming on our major platforms, especially TV right now. So I worry that we're at a Star Trek convention ostensibly. So you go to some place like NASA and you say, who watched Star Trek, and a significant fraction of people at NASA, I'm guessing, would raise their hand and say, oh yeah, I like Dr. Spock, or I wanted to
Sure.
be Captain Picard, or what have you. I worry that there's not a similar wave of good material that is going to push people if you ask them 10 years from now. That's like, oh, I watched that, and that's why I wanted to do this.
It's going to be Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
which,
or I think it's probably going to be YouTube and stuff, but I still don't see that as the main. There needs to be a new institution that kind of does that, like Mr. Wizard to Bill Nye to Mythbusters, Cosmos, before and after.
Right.
There needs to be another big thing where 20 years from now you have kids saying, no, I watched or I listened to this, and that is why.
And you get
what
a pool of them that go, oh, yeah, I remember when.
I think that's the important bit.
We were talking 3-2-1 Contact the other day.
We were.
It was one of those where it's like, it's
right now,
one of those science shows.
Right now, I think we're attacking it for a bunch of different angles. There's a lot of people that do a similar kind of thing of what I do, like sciencey YouTubers, quote unquote, and they all do great work. And I guess maybe it's a combined effort to get people interested in science and communicate science. But I'm still.
Kazogd has been big at
He's
the
great.
household recently.
He's great. They are great. And the interesting thing about like Media 2.0 or Internet 2.0 is that if you like someone's videos, like in a nutshell, like you said, they have a Patreon page. And I don't know if you look, but they make, I forget, it's like somewhere between 15 and 30K a month.
Yeehaw.
So
keep that going.
Yeah, so I mean, it takes a lot to make those videos and to edit those videos and stuff, but they're making $300K a year minus production costs. So it's cool that you can have a TV show's budget.
Yes.
Without with just
needing
making videos on your laptop. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I think maybe the way forward is having a lot of disparate voices like that, having the different platforms with the different people, whether it be a Vsauce or In a Nutshell or whoever's doing whatever, but all like a combined effort rather than having discrete voices anymore, like a Carl Sagan. I don't think there's going to be a single person anymore going forward.
And Neil deGrasse Tyson is trying.
Yeah.
But it's, like you said, it needs to be a chorus, and I think the platform moving forward is a chorus, not a lead singer.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. I just I want to know how I can be a part of that chorus, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we want to harmonize around the good stuff. That's why we were stalking you all week. I mean,
I've seen videos where a lot of these hosts have guest starred on each other's things.
Yeah.
And things like that. So it is like a concern to have no one's saying I'm too good to help out, right?
No, and
which is great.
a lot of people that do science communication, it's a small group. I mean, I think the people who do it professionally in a way that's not, lecture courses or whatever, in the new media kind of way, like a science communicator in Internet 2.0, it's there's like a dozen people.
Yeah.
And we all know each other, and we all, like, we go to each other's, like, baby showers and stuff. I mean, we all know each other, and we're rooting for each other, but it's also like, your friend gets a spot on a big show, and you're like, oh, that's great. You piece of it's a healthy competition that you want everyone to do as well as possible.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
So I got a couple questions about
Hit me.
Because science.
Yeah.
Like I said, seen all the videos, so I just got asked what intrigued me.
Was it weird seeing my hair grow from almost nothing to almost 2 feet long?
Yes,
if you go from first to last.
Well, I didn't start watching the videos like at the beginning.
Yeah,
I stumbled across them.
You can skip those. Those aren't good.
They're still fine.
Yeah, they're okay.
I stumbled across them.
I had the problem because the only ones that I've ever seen have been
long hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, then we're gonna put. I was like, well, what is this?
Yeah. That was right when I moved to LA, and then it sounds stupid, but you're nerds, you'll get it. That was right around the time when The Winter Soldier came out.
Right.
And I looked at The Winter Soldier, I was like, that guy looks pretty cool. And then I started growing my hair out. And then by the time Comic-Con came around, that's when the first Avengers was coming out. And then I saw Thor, and I was like, that guy looks pretty cool.
Really cool.
So I dyed my hair blonde, and I went to Comic-Con as like a casual Thor, like everyday cosplay kind of thing. And then the video series kind of picked up a little bit more.
Right.
And now it's a thing, and I can't not do it anymore.
Right.
Just because.
Well, yeah, you can, because Ragnarok came out. And,
I know, but
and then,
your listeners can't see my air quotes, but personal brand is a very big buzzword in LA, so you kind of have to stick to your guns so people know. There's a lot of skinny white guys talking about science. So,
for those of you that have seen the logo and the chops,
you got
it's
some
a personal brand.
Yeah, you got some serious chops on you.
I've been asked, well, can't you just trim them? No.
Yeah.
Like, I really can't.
That's not just mutton anymore. I think that's a whole lamb.
Yeah.
It
is.
It's a lamb chops.
My motto is, if you're going to do it, commit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way we are.
Yeah. You know how much conditioner I go through? It's a pain in the ass.
I imagine.
I imagine. Believe it or not, at one point, I am bald. I shave my head.
What?
But 20 years ago,
Yeah.
I had a ponytail down to the
Now,
small of my
ponytail
back.
percentages at conventions. What do you put that at?
I don't know.
I'm going like a good 30%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
what's the nerd What drives nerds to have such long ponytail hair? What is it?
Well, because they look
They wanna be
at
rock and roll.
Ragnarok, they look at
I don't
and
know.
then there's the Jean Paul, or what's his name, Paul from Highlander, that had to pull it back. It's not man bun, because man bun, like Jason Momoa can rock the man bun, and that's about it.
But he's more manly than most men.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Most men combined.
yeah, exactly. So we can do that, but the ponytail is like, oh, now I can do the Thor Winter Soldier thing if I have to, but I want it out of my way, so let's ponytail it up.
Okay. Yeah, that and conventions and rock climbing gyms, very high ponytail percentage.
Right.
Nice.
I don't know what it is.
So back to Because Science.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So
We tangent a lot
Yeah.
on this
Hey,
show.
I'm on
it's
board.
a thing.
so many times we said, well, this will only take 2 minutes, and an hour and a half later.
Yeah,
Hey, man, it's all a circle, and the tangents just come off it.
Yeah.
Let's
There
go
you
back.
go. So I'm watching all these videos. I started watching these videos, and initially it wasn't even the science. The subject matter drew me in. You know, the title, for example. It wasn't even the science. What made me go, I got to keep watching this, was watching you write backwards. I'm assuming you're doing this on glass.
Maybe.
That was going to be a question here, because I'm like,
Well,
how can this guy
there's a
do
lot
this?
of there's a lot of trickery going on in that.
We were theorizing
so I've
earlier.
been like
So-
on
so-
this for
so-
like 48 hours
so
straight.
I do.
this.
I'll say I do it more than one way.
Okay.
So I do it how you're envisioning, but I also do it a different way. And I have an editor who is his name is Charles Shattuck, and he's a monster at editing. Like, if you've seen any of my more recent videos, and he started about a year ago, and my videos since then the animation has picked up in quality quite a bit, and it's because he is he's so good. So the way I do videos more so now is that when I can rely on someone who's so good at video editing, I do. So I will, quote unquote, capture a lot of images beforehand, draw them beforehand, capture them, and then animate them in post, so that when I'm recording, I am acting as though things are happening on screen when they're not happening, of course.
Right.
And then in post, you just put those in as if I was getting hit by, as if I was blocking a bullet. But
Right. Sure.
there's nothing in the moment where I'm actually drawing that on, unless you see me physically drawing.
Right, and
I
that's
do,
what I'm talking
and I
about.
do physically draw.
When you do your formulas, when
Yeah.
you're writing this so that they can be seen by the viewer, and you're lettering, you're actually writing backwards. is what
I've
he's
also
talking
written backwards and upside down before, which was hard to do on the fly. I didn't think about it.
So how long did it take you to? Because like the first video, you're writing backwards.
Well,
and it's not. I'll say it's not as smooth as it is in the later videos, but you're still doing it.
here, how about this?
Do you want me to throw out the theory before you let that cat out of the bag?
No, go ahead.
first, but-
It's pretty obvious.
So I'm thinking you write it and flip it, and then have it camera
Off
here,
camera.
and you're not tracing because it's not right up against the medium, the plexiglass or the
No,
the
so
thing you're writing.
some
and
people-
you're filling it in as you
No.
go.
Some people in comment threads and stuff think that my editor is doing a lot more work than he's doing, in
Right.
that I just move something. I just move a fake marker, and he just fills
Fills it
in
in?
everything that I do, which would be a ridiculous amount of work for someone to do.
Right.
No. I'm writing, and for the things that are a little bit more difficult, if they're not drawings, and if you need to read them legibly, and I'm writing them in real time, I will write them, and then they will be flipped in post, the entire frame. The entire show is mirrored,
Remember, I said maybe it's flipped.
which is why if you pay close attention, you don't have to, obviously, but I always wear either V-necks or T-shirts that don't have anything on either
logoing
side,
on them
and
so that you
they're
can-
symmetrical or V-necks, so that if I do flip in between scenes, that you don't immediately notice it. It doesn't bring you out. But I also don't. I never rush to break the mystique of that. People are
Right.
like, "Wow, you
Sure.
can write upside down, backwards with both hands." I'm like, "Pfft,
Yeah, because you're
Right?
like, I think I'm nailing it. I think
Wow.
I'm nailing it, and I'm going like, wow, okay.
yeah, wow,
I'm
I'm so talented.
he's
But
impressive.
I have tried. I mean, you can tell in the videos, which is my dominant hand. But I have tried to get better at writing like
At the same time.
simultaneously,
Yeah.
or writing with both hands, the same thing. But I mean, if you
It's like
think,
if we compare these two,
I mean,
and I'm
if,
like,
I mean,
"Whoa."
if you think about it, I'm just one guy. I write, research, and script, and film everything myself, and then it goes to an editor, and then it goes out. I don't have anybody fact checking. I don't have anyone helping with drawings or anything. So,
Is your mother named Martha? Because you've got to be Batman, Superman here.
no,
One of the two here.
it's so I have a finite amount of time to make a video, and it takes. I'm doing this 9 to 5, and we're on a production schedule with the rest of Nerdist and Geek and Sundry, and they all have videos that they need to make. So
And you're on some of those too.
yeah, and I get about, I'd say, a week. I get a work week to research and script out an episode, and then I film an episode. It takes me about an hour and a half for one. Mm-hmm. Then it takes another work week for my editor
Editing,
to edit
post.
it, and then it goes out.
So
Nice.
where do the ideas come from? Are these yours? Do you do YouTube comments?
It's like third. It's like in thirds right now. A third is me just thinking about either weird stuff that excites me or thoughts that I have. You can tell when it's not pegged to anything, like a movie coming out or something, to get, people are excited about XYZ, so let's do something about that. Those are usually just random thoughts that I have.
Sure.
Like, how does cat dog poop or something like that? That's a random thought.
yeah.
which was also a video.
It was
Yes,
weird.
just
to let you know.
That was weird. That's a weird one. The other third is comments from people across platforms. I read all the YouTube comments, even though people tell me I shouldn't, because people are generally pretty nice, and I'm very hard on people who aren't nice. I've
Like you do.
well, zero tolerance policy. If you're a dick, you're out.
Yeah.
Tough.
We call bullshit.
This
If it's
isn't your
bullshit behavior, don't do it. Get out of
This
here.
isn't your. This is my video, and
Right.
you're watching it for free. So get out. If
Yeah.
you're gonna be an asshole, you can leave.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's as I've made that very clear to people. Usually the comments are fine. So across YouTube and my personal Facebook and my Twitter and Instagram, people will just message me with things like, "Oh, have you thought about this?" That's about a third of stuff. And if people do ask me and the direct question makes it into an episode, or I want to make an episode around it, I'll shout them out because that's where I got the idea. The last third is trying to get better viewership by tagging it with something that's a big movie that's coming out. So December, I'm going to do 2 or 3 Star Wars videos.
Sure.
Because it's going to be the big thing of.
You mean you've already done that?
Well, yeah,
Right.
well, yeah. I have to film in a couple days, 2 of them. But it's going to be one of the big nerd things of December, of course. So why not try to take advantage of that enthusiasm to get more viewership on it? And but with those kind of things, it's more okay. Star Wars is coming out. What is interesting about it, or what can we say? So I just did a presentation here this afternoon about why death by lightsaber would be so much worse than the movie show.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's something that's fun. You don't necessarily think about it when it's happening, and that being related to Star Wars, I think that would do well. I did a similar thing, like why Death by Lava isn't like what you see in the movies, and I think that's one of my highest performing videos ever. And I think it's just because of one of those things you don't think about it, and then when you do, you're like, oh yeah,
Horrifying.
yeah. If this works that way, then oh no,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
terrible.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which tangentially on the Star Wars tangent, the arc, as you were, didn't you have a question about a certain piece of paraphernalia?
Yeah. Every now and then, especially when you're talking Star Wars, you'll out of nowhere.
Lightsaber! Surprise lightsaber!
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's the Kylo Ren Saber. Just a quick question. Well, you kind of already answered it by accident, but that's your personal Kylo Ren lightsaber, right?
It is not my personal one.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Dun, dun,
we got one.
dun.
We got one into the office, and it's kind of like a community lightsaber, I guess, which is a weird thing to say. But people know that I use it more than most people. We actually, for an episode, we just filmed about X-wings that's coming out soonish. We had another lightsaber coming to the office from Ultra Sabers, I believe. That got sent in, and that was a replica of Rey's lightsaber from The Force Awakens. So that's going to be in a new video, and it's nice because it's different color and you mix it up.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I like those nice metal ones. Got a
Yeah.
good feel to them. But the weird thing is that if a lightsaber is made in the way that canon implies that it's made, in that the blade is some sort of plasma contained by some sort of magnetic field
That is folded back upon itself.
that is folded back upon itself in a kind of ring. I don't know how, because
Right.
there's nothing curving it at the top. Whatever. Forget about that for now. Plasma, like that in a fusion reactor, you don't need very much to get the plasma going. You need
Right.
grams. Like I'm holding a bottle cap here, and
Yeah.
the plasma would weigh less than that.
Yes.
So if you turn on a lightsaber, the weight of it, it wouldn't feel like a sword at all. It would feel like the hilt, and that's it.
Yeah, like you were holding a water bottle and twisting it along, and there the blade's just going wild.
The blade's going crazy. It doesn't have the heft on the end of it to give this sense of weight.
Right.
So when you see people fighting with lightsabers in the movies, they're fighting as if they are swords that are heavy. And that's fine because that's what audiences are used to. If you started doing it differently, they may not respond to it. And it's probably more difficult. But in quote unquote reality, if it would be lighter than most things, most swords. So you would manipulate it in a very different way.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea of I pull it out, I get into position, push the button again. Like, I just impaled you. But that's what you can do with a lightsaber. The blade just goes zip, zip.
Yeah.
We're done there. So on the lightsaber question,
Are you going to bring this up?
Everyone loves lightsabers.
Since we've just discussed that it is a plasma blade that is inducted by a magnetic field,
He's going to
folded back upon
reference
itself.
one of my favorite videos, which was the Wolverine versus a lightsaber.
Oh yeah. Everyone, lightsabers, Wolverine.
Yeah, you said those were your two
Those
big
are the
things,
two
so
big
you
things.
put them together.
People always love. Well, people want to know what he can cut through and what lightsabers can cut through and what adamantium is.
So if you've got polished adamantium,
This is.
would it not, just a side question,
I know.
reflect/refract? Let's say you've pierced the magnetic sheet. I mean, I'm seeing a
Well,
blade
let's-
in a couple of directions here.
Let's start from the beginning. So the hard part that you're never going to please everyone on is determining what a fictional metal is.
Correct.
So
Fair enough.
what I do is I try to take things that are complicated that we don't know about or in canon that we don't know about and apply real world restraints to them. And if you don't agree with the restraints, you're not going to agree with the rest of my video. So
Right.
I say, adamantium, because we see it in a molten form at 1500 degrees or whatever they say, it will melt at 1500 degrees. Comics and nerds will say that once it's set, it can never melt again. But there is no material in existence that we know of that has anything close to that kind of property. So if it melts at this temperature, that's its melting point. So that's what I go with.
Or
So-
if its freezing point is high enough, it should be able to be, melted again.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Sure.
If it's liquid at that temperature, if you cool it down, then bring it back up to the temperature, it should melt again. So that's my contention. If you follow me on that, then you can go to the next point, which is you have some power output to a lightsaber, and it is some width and it's some temperature, and you can do basic engineering calculations that are complicated but approachable, where you can say how much heat does it take to melt this much metal and over this much time. And if you get a power rating, how much energy per time, and apply that to metals over time again. If the amount of energy you put into that metal reaches the point at which that metal would melt, then it would melt it. But again, you have to follow.
Right.
Those episodes are always the hardest because you have to be willing to follow me on my own argument.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Right.
almost everyone has their own.
They don't want to do that.
Everyone has their own line of reasoning.
Right.
They have
Oh,
their
exactly.
own pet theory. This is just mine.
Yes, and what I was going to throw in there was, what if the thermoconductive properties, the laws of thermodynamics said that you needed to heat the entire skeleton, that it would draw off heat it would dissipate heat at such a speed to as not let you just zing, we melted through them. Then they're done.
The
here.
heat flow through the rest of it.
And then I'm
Then
looking,
you have a different problem.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, you do,
Which is that you ignite from the inside out.
and you literally crisp yourself.
Yeah, that would be
from
real bad.
All I want to see is the claws in the thing, and I want reflection, just for an
He
instant
wants
before
to see a
you know.
lightsaber, like if Wolverine was to attack it, like the beam would split and it'd be like,
Well, the thing, the other thing, because lightsabers
what I want.
aren't possible right now,
Sure.
and they're theoretical, and they have so many different attributes and conflicting abilities, blah 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 blah. Depending on how nerdy you want to get with it or how technical you want to get with it, we have these fusion reactors that put plasma in a ring, and it looks like a lightsaber. It's close, but they have so little mass, like I said, just grams, and they are so fragile.
Yeah.
Even though they're contained by magnetic fields that are super strong, if you put your hand into a fusion reactor, it would stop the reaction.
Yeah.
They're very fragile. So if a lightsaber is like that, if you follow the chain and it's like that, and you accept that, then if you came into contact with a lightsaber, the plasma would probably hit you and just stop conducting and just psst, and just be gone. On the other hand,
and then you go, your Jedi goes, hold on a second.
yeah,
I gotta get it started again.
Yeah. On the other hand, if it is some material or some plasma that's somehow contained, it would have to be under so much pressure. It'd be ridiculous. But it's hot enough to vaporize through a person in one swipe.
Yeah.
In a line. Then you're dealing. You have so many other problems that the coming into contact part doesn't really come into it unless you want to. Because if I brought a lightsaber that can go through a blast door within a few feet of you and turn it on, you would ignite.
Yes.
And that's your main problem. It's like
that's all. I was just trying to go, but you know what?
But before
I
it even
accept
gets
that.
before it even gets to his claws, his whole body's gonna flash to cinder, just and his skin's gonna keep growing back, and then keep getting flashed. It's gonna be what a hellish existence that is.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
There it is.
One of my favorite videos of yours was when you calculated how many dragons it would take to melt the wall.
Yeah, so many people were mad at that. I stopped.
No, I loved it.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm just saying that I stopped doing Game of Thrones videos because of it's a specific thing. Like science fantasy does not lend itself as well to analysis or scientific analysis, at least, because that's not what it's trying to do. And I don't.
What's the kilojoule output of a standard dragon? Isn't that?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, standardized.
What made me crack up is you said, and you do this science, and there was this huge formula you wrote, and then you go, the answer is 5, and you stopped. And then you went billion dragons.
Oh, I like to play with expectation a little bit, but because fantasy worlds like Lord of the Rings, like Game of Thrones, they're not trying to be accurate. They're trying to tell a story.
Yeah.
If I ever tackle them, it has to be in the exact right way. We're not saying this isn't possible or how this would work, because the first answer to anything I do is it's magic.
Right.
And which is true. So I mean, it's hard. It's much harder for me to do those kind of things
Sure.
in a way that I'd be fine with.
Yeah, and it's not like you have a mountain of nerds who want to fact check everything. Well, Smaug's got the thing where just and then you go.
Most people are pretty constructive and pretty nice, but man, when you get something wrong, you get something wrong. I feel it's the worst feeling. Feeling like you made a mistake and knowing that you made a mistake, or feeling dumb. You put out a whole video that you spent a lot of time on, and you made a mistake, and first guy is like, "Oh, did you consider this?" And you're like, "Fuck." It's the worst feeling in the world. I feel like, we don't have to get into it, but it's bad. I take it really seriously, and if it wasn't just me, it might be a little bit easier. If we get some more resources down the road to add like a fact checker or something. But right now it's just me, man. I'm just trying to.
It's
trying to do
cool
my
as
best.
hell.
Yeah.
Cool
It's still cool, yeah. And it's one of those where we all make mistakes. We're all good. We're all human. It's all perfect.
No problem.
We're fine.
Hey,
We're
it's
good
all,
creatures.
It's all made up anyway, unless you're doing something really specific, like you wrote 30 instead of 3,000. It's like, oh yeah, fuck, I know. Damn it. I try to minimize that. But.
Awesome.
So, seeing that this is Gaming with Scott,
Yeah.
what kind of games do you do?
So I'm a big video game guy. Right now, main console is PS4, where I'm a single player dude, single player RPG. I don't like multiplayer as much because I get stressed out about dying, and over and over again, and I get really mad and angry, and it's just it doesn't help me escape or get de-stressed.
So
I
don't do that.
just get angry. So I
So what do you
because
play?
my day job is just spending most of my time in my head, just like thinking about weird, stupid things and doing math and stuff. I like to come home and have a nice story, single player experience where I can just put myself in those shoes and just do that, and it has its own rules, and I just escape. Like right now I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn on PS4, which is fantastic. And I like playing especially as female protagonists, because then I have another layer of removal from my own experience. It's like, oh, that's an interesting perspective or way of looking at things or approaching these things. Or I love being really immersed, like The Witcher 3 is probably the best RPG ever made. I'll fight you. I will fight you on that because it probably is. Fallout 4, a lot of great games coming out on the next gen consoles. Uncharted 4, I just played the spin-off of that. It's really, really good. Persona 5, I'm a JRPG, basically about your fighting thought crime in high school. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of great games coming out. And aside from that, the tabletop that I do and that I've done since, I don't know, last 13 years? Mm-hmm. No, 16 or 17 years is Magic the Gathering.
I went down that rabbit hole long ago.
I got into it. I was always, dinner table constructed. I never went to tournaments or anything like that. And then I got into, a couple years ago, Commander format, which are these big decks where you actually get to play all the massive creatures and big spells, and it's multiplayer, and it's high flying and a lot of stakes, and I really like that. I don't do competitive stuff, again, because I get stressed out about losing, and it just makes me angry because I feel like I'm not good enough, and blah, 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 blah. But I really love playing Magic the Gathering. I do it most weekends.
So what's your favorite deck build?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
What colors we got?
I have a couple of build. They range from your quote unquote best decks to stuff you kind of just play around with,
like the concept decks that are never going to win, but the concept's cool.
Exactly.
Like, this is awesome.
I have one that's in between. I have a Scion of the Ur-Dragon deck that's 5 colors, and it's dragon tribal themed, but it also has enough of my best cards in it that I think it's pretty competitive. I'm running a 3-color Narset, the Enlightened deck, red, white, blue. She is stupid. She's so good, it's stupid. Like you win a 4-player multiplayer game on like turn 3, and no one has any fun, and I love it. You only take
there was
out
a gleam in your eye when you said that.
You only take out that kind of deck if everyone else at the table is like, all right, you want to do this?
Yeah,
all right.
really?
And everyone takes out. I like moments like that. Everyone takes out their very best deck. You're like, all right, let's do this. And then but the magic of Magic is that there's such a depth to it that you can do something like that. It's like, okay, I'm gonna destroy you. Or you take out a deck and like, yeah, I threw this together. I hope it works. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
I really like the how many different gameplay experiences you can get out of it. And I think that's what keeps everyone around it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different things to do with it.
Because it's not a complete money sink. Wait.
It's bad.
Magic. Yeah.
That's kind of why I had to stop.
It's not quite Games Workshop.
What did Iconic Masters just came out, and I don't know, Mana Drain's still going for like $100 right now. It's a brand new card. Come on, dog.
Yeah.
Come on.
But if you can get it, it's a deck buster. It's like, it's good stuff.
Someone Mana Drains you for a big spell, you kind of just rage quit. You're like, come on.
You're like, stop.
I was trying to do...
I was going to murder you on that turn, and no. Now I'm done.
Oh, really?
I hate you.
Oh, but what about this, though? What about this card, though?
Yeah.
I know, I see it.
It's an instant. It means it's instantly better than the thing you were going to do.
I know what it means. Yeah. Table flip.
Yeah. Which are stuff that I play Magic, but I'm not even to the level where I'm even less competitive. Like I play I like to go boop to the people who like, I've got the greatest deck. Okay, interrupt.
Mana Drain, I know players like
Dispel,
you. I know players with you with a couple of decks that just create chaos.
Yeah,
and they love that.
Chaos and
they're
frustration.
usually red or blue players, but usually red, and they play enchantments that are like every time you play a spell, wait, don't play that spell. If you cast a spell, put your hand away and then reveal the top card of your deck and you play that instead. And you're like, well, that's not even fun. And they're like, I know.
Isn't it great?
I know. And
blue,
you can't,
white,
and
I will heal because you've got a pound on me. And then I'll be like, and you can't do that or this or that.
And here's a Winter Orb. Make sure to only untap 1 land per turn. You're like, that is so not fun. You're like, I know. Isn't it great?
Oh, wait. I get another turn first before you untap anything. So let me do that again.
There is a weird, and that's kind of like the Narset deck because it takes extra turns, but there's a weird win condition in Magic for a certain kind of player that I imagine you are. Whereas you just say, I'm going to make it so uncomfortable for you to continue playing that you're going to quit.
Oh, the concede.
The concede. Yeah, going for a concede as a main win con is so annoying, but I love doing it. It's like, okay, I just want you to know that I'm about to take 5 extra turns.
Right.
And you're not going to do anything.
So might as well just put your hand down.
So I'm just telling you, if you want to quit, you can.
That's an option.
But I have friends, I mean, they're to the point where like, you can't just give people the benefit of the doubt always. So sometimes people are like, all right, do it. Do it, bro. Yeah. See what you got. I'm like, okay.
Prepare yourself.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I like you more and more. The more I hear, the more I'm.
Yeah, I'm a real
getting your
annoying
vibe.
Magic player. I'm a real annoying. Really, yeah. Tap all that. You don't untap next turn.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's real cool. I know. Look at my interactions.
I
get
got nothing.
that. I get that.
I haven't played
completely.
Magic in years.
Oh, I
In
attack.
fact,
I
a year
attack
ago,
you
I
for 10.
sold all
Oh,
my
did you
cards.
did you pay 4 mana to attack me? Like, no, I didn't. Well, then you can't. You son of a gun.
Yeah.
Oh, I passed priority.
I sold all my Magic cards last year.
I bet you had some good ones.
I did. I had a
Any dual lands?
Library of Alexandria, which was signed.
Oh,
This is
okay.
old school
Yeah.
from like I don't know antiquities.
Dual
or
lands are
dark
still
or-
doing like 150
Yeah.
per
Woo.
pop, which is
I had a card.
stupid.
What card was it? It was $900.
Woo!
Can't remember what it was.
One of the Moxes.
No, Moxes are worth more than that.
I don't know what they were.
This was from
I don't know. I'm never gonna buy one.
I don't know, The Dark, I think, or Arabian
Jeez.
Nights or something like that.
Oh, I
Like
love
old
Arabian
school.
Nights. I had a
couple
full set of Arabian
I had a few
Nights
alpha
sold.
cards. I
Back
sold
when
too, so-
creatures sucked.
Yeah. Well.
Hey, you want to drop this 6/6 for 7?
Yeah.
and that's all it does.
That's it?
It's just a 6/6. Like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I liked
sold them all,
Arabian
so
Nights
that was
because you
good.
put 4 jihads on the table and a couple Sarah Angels and everything was +4/+4. They just sat there. A couple of Wall of Swords and you're
I
like,
used to
well,
play-
you're
there
never
was-
getting to me. So
There was an old PC game that was Magic the Gathering where you went around as a not a planeswalker, but you kind of went around this overworld that looked like Heroes of Might and Magic, and you fought, PC players, not PC players, but AI programs, and
you can walk
get-
across to their side and
Yeah,
grab them, and
you
you can hit them with a stick and,
and you
back up. And
you gather some of their cards. If you win,
Right.
you can build your own decks out of all these old cards. That was so much fun. I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
was a
that.
blast.
That was a good game.
Yeah.
was
When you
wonderful
put like
stuff.
unholy strength on stuff, which is something you would never ever do
Right,
anymore. But
ever.
yeah, it was fun at the time.
See, I've been out of Magic for a few years, so I don't even.
Hey, well, if you got a few,
Why not?
if you
Why
got a
not
few
throw it in a
grand
hole?
you're not using,
you can get right back
you
in.
can get right
like
back
today.
into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's like
not
it's
gonna
like
happen.
nerds skiing. It's like yeah, I'd love to ski, but I don't want to go all the
Vail?
way there.
Whoa.
And how much money is it?
Yeah.
I mean, just to get in, it's $25. Well, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Where is that? Oh. Do I get booster packs with that 25? No, it's just $25.
well, you got to win.
right.
Oh, but what if I don't win? I don't
Well, but
know.
is it like we build our thing from the but no.
No,
Do I get to
no.
keep these cards? No.
No,
Okay,
you're
we're
just
good.
You can look at them. You can look at them.
Yeah.
Please don't touch them. They're double sleeve, but still don't.
You really have.
Double
You this is a regular thing for you. That
Oh, yeah.
delights me.
Yeah, I've played against people I don't even want to play against anymore because they're like that, like double sleeving their cards and being a real.
See, back
real
when I was in it, you weren't allowed to sleeve your cards
What?
because it was interrupting the actual. This was like early 90s.
Well, yeah,
Mid-
and it's
90s.
become now that you have to because if
Yeah.
I shuffle your deck, if your cards become 2, they're no longer regulation.
Right.
You can't use them in the like.
Well, also
just destroyed your whole deck.
Well,
Sorry.
also
Yeah.
these cards are so much money now. I mean,
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
yeah.
This was way back when.
Well, like I said, I
Didn't
play
matter.
Commander, so there are 100 card decks that are all sleeved. So even shuffling that is like a
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the
smashing
A.
2 hands together.
Well, and the most horrid thing I'd ever seen was a guy who was using a Chaos Orb, which says you tap it, you hold it over the thing,
Yeah.
you drop the card, and any card.
Did
that
you
Chaos
see?
Orb,
Did you see a guy rip it up?
better?
What? Okay.
Any card that the Chaos Orb touches is removed from the game.
Yeah.
So he pulls out, he activates the Chaos Orb, puts it in his hand, and starts spritzing it with water. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's mashing it with this hand while he's taking out the clip-on fan, table fan, spray, squish, 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 spray, squish, squish.
That has to
turns
be
the
illegal.
fan on and goes, and it went, and sprayed every card on the other side with little flecks of card, and he went, okay, well, any card that we run our hand across and there's moisture and card on it, well, that card's removed from play.
Wow.
That's not
What?
permanently legal.
Well, no, it wasn't. They
What
were
a,
like,
what a dick!
But he was.
Well, it used
yeah.
to. It used to be, and that led to one of the first cards in one of the unsets
Right.
called Chaos Confetti, where it asked you to rip it apart.
Rip the card, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the legend that some guy was
Yeah.
at a tournament and he
They did
had
that.
no other way out, and he's like, "It doesn't say I can't destroy it."
Yeah.
So
So I'm gonna.
yeah, that was
Thanks
cool.
for playing.
That's
and it
cool.
was
The new-
terrible. And I was like, what? Yeah, and we weren't on a tournament or anything. We were like, dude, that is so
Yeah, that's
a-hole.
yeah,
that
that's
it was
enough.
not even fun.
Yeah, and you're wrecking other people's cards and sleeves and stuff. The new unset's coming out next month, I think.
Yep.
Looks cool.
Unglued? What was it called?
Unstable, I believe.
No, the original one that had the Chaos Confetti.
Unglued?
Was it Unglued?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, I still have some of those cards. They're fun. I want those basic lands, dude. Have you seen the new Unstable basic lands? In the new Unset, the basic lands are no border, full art. No
wow.
text. I think it just says mountain on the top or whatever, and the rest is full art.
That's cool.
Oh, it's beautiful. Shit. Oh, God. I need them so bad.
So I got a suggestion.
Gotta have them.
Of course, it's all Magic, so I don't know how it's going to work. You need to do a video about Magic the Gathering.
No,
somehow.
but I've actually I do have a relationship with the people at Wizards, and they've been kind enough to send me products sometimes and stuff. But it's for review. But what I've wanted to do is that they told me about they made it's in beta. I think it's just out of beta. The new Magic Arena. Right. Yeah, Magic Arena. It's a new Magic the Gathering online client where you can play each other. But to make that, they made their own in-house artificial intelligence that has every Magic card in it. And if they want to make a new Magic card, they can use that program to analyze every possible interaction with every possible card in Magic, so they know if it's going to be legal or possible or game breaking or whatever. So I wanted to go. I'm still talking to them about this, but I'd love to do just a straight up science video about, go to Wizards of the Coast and talk to them about the technology and the programming that goes into making a program that interprets every card from the most popular card game in the world. I think that would be a real cool video.
It would. Cool.
I still want to do that.
It would. And the question then becomes, so do you then synthesize these cards on it could be proprietary, super secret formula that gives them a relativistic value compared to every other card in Magic, period?
Yeah. Do they have some way of determining power or something like that? And, they've told me before they have like psychological subsets for, we were mentioning, we're the kind of players that like to, gunk up the works occasionally. But I also like to come over the top with giant stuff and beat your face in. But those are different quote unquote psychological profiles for players, and they take that into consideration when they're making cards. Like, oh, we need more cards for people who think and play like this. And they take that into account, and they design the game accordingly. They know how there's different ways that people like to play, and they put all of that into their gumbo, and they come out with a lot of different cards. Because if it was just people who like to attack with creatures, a lot of people wouldn't like playing. So they have to... It's very complicated.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's very complicated.
I've always been a defense and healing guy. So.
Yeah, that's Pillow Fort.
Yeah, so
Pillow Forts are annoying to play against.
I would green white and just I have 800 health. How much do you have? 20?
I'm gonna tap Well Wisher, and I have 50 elves, so I'll gain 50 life, and I'll untap it, and with my Guy's Cradle, I get 15 mana, and then with that, I put down, like, just go. Just do something. Kill me if you can.
I double my life, and then I double my life again.
If you can do something, just do it. Come on, put me out of my misery.
What? I've got 800 health. Come at me, bro.
Oh, man.
No?
Infect. Here we come.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and gone are the days of, I tap a green and a red, I cast Fireball, I use 19 life, it does 1 plus the number of mana, I'm at 1 health, you're at 0, we're done.
There's not a whole lot of cards that do that anymore, although I know I'd use one of them that does something like that. In Commander, you have 40 life, double the life, and there's a dragon that you can either pay 1 red to give it Fire Breath, +1, +1 +0, or you can pay 2 life. It's Phyrexian mana, so you can either pay 1 red or 2 life to activate it. So if you swung in with your commander, if you do 21 commander damage, the other player dies, or you do their life total. That's the rules. So if you swing in with this dragon, you make it your commander, which Scion of the Dragon can do. Look it up. You attack. You don't even have to pay any mana. You just pay 20. You pay 36, 38 life,
and you're done.
And because of the power, instant kill. And it's no fun, and I love it. Comes out of nowhere.
Well, it's no fun for them.
Yeah, it's no fun for them. It's fun for me. I mean, like, you attack, you make it a dragon, and they're like, okay, take 7. Then, and also discard your hand. And they're like, what? I'm like, yep. Okay, I guess I'm not playing anymore. Yeah, I guess you're not.
And there
and then there was me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like playing like that.
All right. That's phenomenal. It's fantastic because when we get into gaming, because gameplay and one of the psychology around the table of yes,
people play for different reasons, and I think it's all valid unless you're being a real unless it's not fun to play against you. I think it's all within the boundaries of like if you know that I'm that kind of player, you're going to play against me
in a different
way, and you can still have a fun or interesting time doing that.
Yeah.
But that's why you have to be good with your play group, because if someone just shows up and they have 10 infinite combos in their deck and they win on turn 2 and then they leave, you're like,
never gonna play with that guy again.
Yeah.
that guy.
Versus your buddy where it's like, oh, you almost got close.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly. If you know what they're trying to do, it's more fun, and you're willing. It's like, oh, they're one step away from this combo. We gotta get them.
All right. I have a friend who's longtime friend, and he had a deck that was just, if he got his process going, which took about 4 or 5 turns, forget
You were
about
done.
it.
You're done.
So my goal was like I'd build a new deck, and I'd be
throw
like,
monkeys in the wrench.
I'd be like, pull out that deck, let's see if I can beat it. And that was the goal.
I've done that. I've had people that have had such good decks that I've made decks that are just in response to
that,
them.
yeah.
It's like, I'm going to ruin your day.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick of losing to this stupid gimmick or whatever you got going
Right,
on.
whatever you got going on.
I
build
have
it just to destroy that one
I have
thing.
14 counterspells in here.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Come at it.
And I'm only going to target you. I don't care who else is playing.
Right.
You're going down. Blood feud.
Yeah.
I had a guy I stopped playing with a guy like that because he would just do these little things that just annoyed everyone, and it was to the point where just like it's just not fun playing against someone who takes 5 minutes to shuffle because they want to make sure everything's shuffled correctly, and they don't announce what they're doing, and they like put their artifacts with their lands so you don't really see them, just to be like tricky and stuff. And you're just like, at the end of the day, you're just like, come on, dude.
Quit being a jerk.
Yeah, come on, dude. It's not.
You just didn't want me to notice that card? Like, seriously?
Yeah.
We'll
Or if
move
you
that over here.
play if you want to use one of my decks after eating Cheetos, you can just leave.
Yeah. No, don't. Well, but they're sleeved. I don't care.
You will ruin the sleeves.
Yeah. Don't. No.
The gunk sticks to the sleeve, and then they don't shuffle right, and then I hate you.
Yeah. There it is. That's what that translates into.
Yeah.
I agree with you
And
100%.
I don't know. I have weird texture things with my skin. I'm very sensitive to certain textures, and just like sticky stuff and
mouth noises.
gunky stuff and mouth noises.
Yeah.
Are just get to me, so I can't do some of that stuff. So I need sleeves. Need good sleeves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. This turned into a magic podcast.
Right? Hey, we're not against that.
It's still gaming.
The opposite
so
of what I do for a living. Magic, science. Hey.
It's all this. Hey, where I come from, it's the same thing.
Hey.
Any science sufficiently advanced could be indistinguishable from magic.
Arthur C. Clarke, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah. No. If you went back in time, like 1000 AD with an iPhone, I think you'd be burned at the stake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You'd be
It's like, look at this. It shows where we are.
Yeah, not to mention the entire
Pretty sure if you just took a
accumulated-
picture of someone back then.
Yeah, and
Like,
you'd- oh!
you captured my soul.
And
Or
we're
it just
done here.
showed them a
Killed
picture.
And then some priest somewhere will be like, you will burn for this heresy.
Did you see these small men moving inside of this box? Oh!
How did you capture these men, and how can I have this power? Also, I'm going to cut your head off later.
Yeah, it would be
And how can I use it to
Exactly.
take advantage of my position?
because you would.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a thing.
That was a whole plot for a movie. Remember that movie with Martin Lawrence? I think he went back in time. He was at
Black Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had like a.
Yeah.
They're like, what is that? And he's like, an equalizer. And he opened a Walkman, a CD Walkman, and he pointed the laser disc reader at someone's eyes, and the guy's like, oh, and he fell off the castle. Like, yeah, that's one way to do it, I guess.
There it is.
Yeah.
Just playing the CD player would have caused people to run.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Right.
Like I have a small band in the palm of my hand.
Why
It's,
did you capture them in this way? Why
It's
do they
magic.
Yeah.
What sorcery is this?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
So you helped dispel some of the sorcery in
yeah,
all of our favorite things.
Specifically, I never try to debunk anything. What I try to do is give people something to be interested about in whatever fandom that they like. Like, oh, if you like this might be how it actually works, or this is an interesting interaction, or something like that. I never come right out and say XYZ isn't possible.
BS. No,
'Cause
you
that's-
try to enlighten.
Well, yeah, because that's no fun, and I don't think you learn anything when you just say something's not possible. At least say why it's not possible, But I at least want to, if I can, give people the tools, this way of thinking, if you like thinking very nerdily about stuff, science is usually pretty good with that. The process of science is usually a very nerdy kind of analysis. And if you are good with that, I will leave it to you, if you want to or if you're interested to apply it to other areas in your life. I'm not going to come out and do, although I have mentioned it and done stuff before on it, I'm not going to come out and say, if you deny climate change, you're wrong. Here's why you're wrong and you're stupid. Some people do that.
It's not your bag.
It's not my bag. I would rather say, this is how we know X, Y, Z, and this is the process of doing so, and then hopefully, because I stick to kind of my pop culture niche, hopefully people could take the same kind of thinking to when they encounter a problem like that, or evolution, or vaccines, these more controversial things that if they apply the same kind of thinking, it's like, oh, no, we have evidence and this, and there's a study here, and oh, that showed this, and oh, well, that probably means that this is the conclusion.
We get to this conclusion.
Yeah,
exactly.
I never want to be the person who makes a decision for you, because that's not. This is all pop culture stuff. That's not my job.
Yeah.
It's more about just introducing interesting things. That's all.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So where can we find you on all of the various magic boxes that we carry around?
Yeah, sure. I'm Kyle Hill. If you search for that, I'm not the NBA player or the
okay.
or the
I was sure
on the
you
local
could dunk.
on the local school board of Canada on the power. It's some guy.
That's awesome.
But if you just search Kyle Hill Science anywhere, I'm sure it will come up. I do a show on YouTube for Nerdist called Because Science. That's on YouTube. And then you can follow me at SciFile, SCI_PHILE, across all platforms like Twitter and Instagram. And I'm there being nerdy and taking questions. And
Excellent. Well, when we share this out, and we shall, I will make sure that you're tagged in all of the appropriateness, and that we send all of our listeners who have not heard of you yet to your stuff.
Hey, if you're interested, check it out. I think you might enjoy it or not. If you're listening to this, you're probably a giant nerd, so I'd say give it a shot.
Basically, they listen to us go on like this for hours at a clip. So yes, they would be right.
Yeah, you're right in the butter
wheelhouse.
zone. Yeah, let's talk about lightsabers.
It just makes me go.
So tasty.
Now that's some good nerdery. Oh my god! Oh, I'm so sorry.
That was
the only thing worse is
it's like stereo
sometimes
numbing.
I do this if I'm ever on stage and there's a lot of people. I suggest trying this for everyone. If you're ever on stage, if people have been sitting for a long time, I was like, okay, let's everyone loosen up for a second. I want, on the count of 3, everyone crack your knuckles. And I've done it in a room with 1,500 people before, and the sound of 1,500 people cracking their knuckles all at the same time is
horrible,
unbelievable. It sounds like a giant bone is breaking.
Oh,
it's great, and everyone's like, "Oh no!" It's wonderful. I love it. So if you hate the sounds that we've been making, check that out.
Yeah,
I wish-
we should do that.
I wish I had an audience to do that with.
It's exposure. It's exposure therapy.
How about this? Everybody listening to this, crack your knuckles now.
Wow, did you hear each other?
Oh, that was.
Didn't-
You're right.
Didn't
I don't
work
think
out the way I was
that's how it
hoping.
That
works.
wasn't how that,
But
that wasn't the way
yeah.
that went. Oh well, that's all right. Well, we've been here with Kyle Hill.
Thanks for your time,
We thank
man.
you for your time.
Oh,
We
no, thank you so much for having me.
sticking around and talking to us. It's been a phenomenal interview.
Thanks.
And as always, from Gaming with Scott, you'll hear from us real soon.
Bye.
Bye.